Hey little readers, today we're going to be reading Bone Soup. It's a spooky, tasty tale. It's by Alyssa Satin Cappuccilli, and pictures are by Tom Knight. Let's get started. One Halloween morning, 3 very hungry witches were looking for a tasty treat. They checked the cupboards only to find nothing there. "Bare," said Naggy Witch. "Empty," said Craggy Witch. "Only a small dry bone," said Scraggy Witch. "Only a bone." "Only a bone, you say? Piff poof, let's make some bone soup, sisters," crackled Naggy Witch gleefully. Bone soup is the perfect Halloween treat. The 3 witches carried their cauldron and bone far and away until they came to a door. The witches hadn't even begun to knock when the door groaned open. And there, the scariest looking monster they had ever seen towered before them. It made the witches shiver, but alas, they were very hungry. "Trick or treat, trick or treat, we've something unusually good to eat. It's bone soup, soup from a bone," said Naggy Witch. "Bone soup? Impossible. Go away. There will be time for your tricks later," boomed the monster. "Piff poof, it's no trick. A bit of water is all we need," promised Naggy Witch. "I'm hungry, Papa," said a little monster as she appeared at the door. "Can we make some bone soup, please?" "None of your tricks," boomed the monster. "Puff poof, only a treat," Naggy Witch replied. And in minutes, the bone and water were bubbling inside the cauldron. Naggy Witch gave the cauldron a stir. She took a small taste. "Bewitching," she said. "If only we had something savory." "That's all it needs. But where can we find it?" "Look, another door," said Craggy Witch. The 3 witches hadn't even begun to knock when the door opened with a hiss. And there, the spookiest ghost they had ever seen floated before them. It made the witches tremble, but alas, they were very hungry. "Trick or treat, we've something unusually good to eat. It's bone soup, soup from a bone. A savory morsel is all it needs." "Bone soup? Impossible. Go away. There will be time for your tricks later," called the ghost. "Piff poof, it's no trick, it's a treat," said Scraggy Witch. And as the ghost was feeling a bit hungry, a most savory eye of a giant was soon bubbling in the cauldron. "Bedazzling," said Naggy Witch after a small taste. "If only we had something crunchy." And with that, the eeriest of ghouls brought forth a long, crackly lizard's tail. "Piff poof, into the cauldron it goes," cried Naggy Witch. An unusual scent began to waft through the air now. Doors creaked open, windows squeaked wide too. "Beguiling," said Naggy Witch. "But I wonder, can a tasty tidbit or two be found?" "Juice of a toad, earthworms, dried dragon wings," drooled a bat. "Colored flies, hot and sweet," snarled a goblin. "Sludge, slimy sludge," whispered a mummy. "Claws and more claws," rattled a skeleton. "Piff poof, hypnotizing," murmured Naggy Witch. Mixing and stirring, wrinkled fingers, old toenails," howled a werewolf. "Dead leaves, cobwebs, and the wrinkliest of prunes," snickered a vampire. Even Naggy Witch had to gasp. Now the crowd was growing hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. Bone soup, soup from a bone. This better not be a trick, growled the monster. He was feeling particularly fierce and quite hungry just then. I'll take back that eye, warned the ghost. And the crackly tail, grumbled the ghoul. I won't hang around much longer, sneered the bat. I'll use powers of my own, scowled the goblin. Let's wrap this up now, mumbled the mummy. Don't rattle me further, clattered the skeleton. Ooh, let's go, howled the werewolf. Before it's too late, snarled the vampire, baring his fangs. Bone soup, soup from a bone, they whispered. Bone soup, soup from a bone, they chanted. Bone soup, soup from a bone, they roared. Wait, I know what it needs, called a small voice. You do? Asked Naggy Witch. 3 taps for your wand, Scraggy Witch, said the little monster. Tap, tap, tap. 2 spins of your broom, Craggy Witch. Whirl, whirl. And 1 wave of your cape, Naggy Witch, if you please. Whoosh! Naggy Witch waved her cape over the bubbling brew. Then she mixed and she stirred, and she took 1 more taste. Piff poof, imagine that, Naggy Witch cackled gleefully. Bone soup, and it's ready at last. Trick or treat, called Naggy Witch. We've something unusually good to eat. And as a full moon rose in the sky, the 3 witches filled a steaming bowl of bone soup for all. It was made with ingredients tried and true, and some monstrously new. The soup was scary, spooky, eerie, bewitching, bedazzling, beguiling, hypnotizing, and spellbinding. But most of all, piff poof, it was bone-chillingly delicious. And here is Naggy Witch's bone soup. If you want to try it at home, you can pause the video and write down the ingredients. And thank you all so much, little readers. I hope you enjoyed this book and have a wonderful day.